we're talking about a movie called The Car that's very Christine-esque, but it came before Christine. So I guess it's not fair to compare it to Christine. We should be comparing Christine to it. Except it's even creepier than Christine. We're going to try to review it without too many spoilers. There will be a few, but we won't get into the hows, so you can still enjoy the movie. But if we don't say a little, you're not going to get why it's worth watching and why it's interesting that it came first. So I'm Morticia. This is my darling Gomez. This is our roommate Slappy. Do subscribe, check out our spooky playlist if you're new, turn on spookifications so that you are aware of our daily doings and uploads. And without further ado, this movie was called The Car. Not as creative as Christine, I suppose, but you know, it didn't really have a name. It was just The Car, like the title says. And it comes to terrorize this small town. It came out in 1977, right, Gomez?
Yes.
And it was produced by Universal, and it flopped, which I don't understand because there are a lot of movies out now that people seem to like that I think should have flopped. And this one we really enjoyed. I enjoyed it.
Yes.
And it did flop. We weren't around in 1977 when it flopped, but we watched it recently, and I thought it shouldn't have flopped. I was surprised when I read that it didn't do well. It's kind of cool. When you get the DVD, they have A Highway to Hell by AC/DC playing. So that kind of fits, you know, the theme of The Car, as you will see when you watch, and a little bit will tell you. But it came out before Christine. It's just kind of like, to me, not fair when something comes out first and then something comes out next and it gets all the fanfare. And in the beginning, when Christine came out, originally, I think it was like 83, it apparently didn't do as well either. But it got its cult following later, and The Car didn't seem to really get a cult following. And I think it was even creepier because it was the car from hell.
It was interesting. I think even the titles already convey some of the differences because Christine had sort of humanized aspects as a car for certain reasons that I don't want to disclose as spoilers, where our car did not at all, and that made it all the cooler.
And scarier.
Yeah.
Like, you know, anything human-esque, you can relate to it. If Christine is a Christine, you know, does she want to be like us, or is she a girl possessing the car? You know, what is up? This car in The Car has no human aspects. It's alien, and it's out to get you, and that's even scary. You couldn't talk to it, you couldn't reason with it, and you're probably screwed if you try to reason with Christine, but you could try. And this car is just, it just wants to come kill you because, like, usually you had to tick Christine off, and this car was just coming for you. And it's interesting because in the late 1800s, when the first horseless carriages, aka automobiles, came out, were invented as it were, a lot of people were scared of them. They thought they were kind of demonic and scary because, you know, just think about it. You're used to being carted around by horses, and then you get this loud, shaky vehicle and smelly, and, you know, it's like just very foreign and different, and you're in control of it, and horses aren't going to take you around. You have to do it, and it could seem kind of scary and demonic, like if you're thinking about it that way. So I really liked The Car because it brought out the demonic aspect of the original, like probably old cars and how people felt about them. So that really spoke to me because cars always kind of creep me out, and yes, I ride in them frequently, but it's still kind of like I can imagine and understand the earliest reactions in the late 1800s myself. When I was a kid, I was always scared that the car would move by itself. And these driverless cars, no way. Like, Gomez and I are visually impaired, and a lot of people like think that that's really exciting that these driverless cars are coming out. And I'm like, and they're like, aren't you excited you could get your own? And no. We'll just walk around, get our stuff done on foot, or, you know, the bus, or Uber, or ride with friends. I'm cool. I'm not trusting my life to a computer. I mean, how often does your computer screw up daily, people, and do something stupid? Okay? No, I'm not getting in a computer and letting it drive me because, you know, it's going to make an error and kill me. So, no. And that's the thing with The Car and Christine, they both creep me out because they're moving cars, doing stuff on their own, and that always kind of, you know, scared me as a kid. So when I saw these movies later, I'm like, I'm glad I didn't see that as a kid. Like, The Car wasn't popular, so it wouldn't have been reshown or anything, I guess. But I saw it, like, obviously as an adult, but it was just like, yeah, I can see how that's scary, a machine coming after you, and there's this one scene where this woman is in her house, and the car comes through her house and gets her. And see, I would have thought I could get in the house and at least be safe, so it's just like, woo! It's a black car, and it doesn't even have handles on the outside of the door, so it's not human at all. You can't get in it, you can't drive it like Christine. It's not user-friendly, and people can see that nobody is in it. It is demonic in nature. We will not do spoilers by saying why, so watch the movie and you'll see. But you can see that it's driving itself. It's clear that no one is in it. What else, Gomez?
I like that its own perspective is highlighted because you can see through its eyes, as it
Yeah,
were.
you can see, like, you're seeing the perspective of the way that when the car's driving. What
Yeah.
it sees, through the way it would see it through its, like, windows.
Yeah. And also an interesting sociological commentary because we got to see a sort of family of the 70s that was not quite what I expected. I would have placed them maybe in the 60s, but they were an interesting family unit. The concubine, mistress, teacher. She's all like, she's very liberated, and I would have placed her alongside hippies or something. It's strange to see one in the 70s, so that stood out in itself.
Hippies were in the 70s too. They didn't just, like, straighten up after the 60s.
Well, I thought, like, the fashion should have, like, died out or something
So
like
this
that.
makes us sound young. I like this.
Yes.
Well, we obviously weren't around, but when I was, like, in high school, I went back and read about the hippies. Like, they sound cute, man. And now I'm like South Park. Damn hippies. But, it's like, yeah, it's interesting to see how you picture it. But I guess it had to have carried over into the 70s. Like,
Yeah.
this was late 70s, so you're going, like, shouldn't it be edging toward the 80s or something? So, yeah, okay, all right.
And the other aspect was interesting that it was a take on small town cops. Like recently, like most of the movies of horror that I see them as being either entirely helpless, unable to do anything, or also sometimes unwilling, participating with the villain, cooperating with them against the good guys. But here we have an actually friendly cop who is trying to do his best and like is more relatable than many other authorities figures that I've seen.
Are you saying you don't like police officers, Gomez?
I know what they're saying.
He's like, ah!
I'm just making comparison and hope that I'm not saying anything.
They did come to our door once and disturb us when we were trying to go to bed because the neighbors were fighting, and they can't even come to the right house. So it's like, go away.
So I think Morticia even commented on how this cop Wade sounded like friendly, nice and stuff, and I guess because of that he was sort of relatable. He looked that way too, like where he would be like just one of the guys, not somebody who is trying to pursue his power trip or anything, but more like he is actually trying
A pleasant police officer who's actually helpful and trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like the characterizations in this movie. I mean, it's not like I wanted to write a book about them or anything, but, with the critics, they were really harsh, and I thought it was a good movie. I enjoyed the plot, I enjoyed the characters, I followed it well. And so many of the newer horrors now, if they're not blood and gore, you're like trying to figure out what is happening, and you're kind of confused and bored, and I don't know. But this was actually cool. I enjoyed it. And just because cars creep me out, and, they made this one very non-human, I really liked. Oh, there was this really cool aspect with the horn that was cool. It had this horn that almost sounded like a train or one of those big trucks, but it's just a car.
Yeah.
And it would blow the horn while it was coming to get you. So usually you think the horn means move out of my way, but this time it was kind of creepier because it was used in a I'm coming to get you and run you down way.
And what do you think about the wind? Should we tell them about the wind, or will it be a spoiler?
Go ahead and tell them about the wind. I mean, you brought up the wind after all, so.
The wind was a very interesting touch.
If you don't tell them about the wind, you'll have to edit this.
Oh, yeah.
That would be annoying, or else they would be offended or annoyed that you brought it up. It's always rude to bring something up and not finish it. I mean.
That's a good point. So back to the wind. The wind is like very fascinating. It shows up every time when something is about to happen. It's like one of those music things that seem
Like
to...
in Jeepers Creepers where the song comes.
Yeah.
And then he comes, and why did they ignore that in part 2 and just do it in part 1? That was stupid for
There
me.
was no reason.
I know, they named it Jeepers Creepers and you leave the song out, but I have digressed, I'm sorry. But yeah, wouldn't you say the wind did like that? Like.
Yeah, that was like the cue every time, and it was so perfect. Like it's a sign of a change, a sign of horrifying change, and it's like every time it comes along, I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, here comes the wind. That was good. I shouldn't ruin the plot.
Well, good.
Like we said, there were going to be some spoilers, so.
Yes.
But, yeah, it's a creepy car movie. It's just that I thought it would be fun to talk about because of the fact that it's the car before Christine. Everyone knows about Christine. No one knows about this car even before Christine that's actually creepier. So you guys definitely check it out, or tell us if you've seen it before and if you enjoyed it or were creeped out by it. Or maybe people just weren't scared of cars. But then, eventually they got into Christine. I don't know. But I thought this was pretty impressive.
Yeah, maybe sometimes things need to wait for their time, just like Freaks that became popular much later and stuff and found their audience.
Yeah. Like maybe now when these computer cars start killing people, if they get popular, then this movie will. We did the first big review where we brought it up. Yes.
You're welcome!
So we hope you enjoyed this.
Till next time.